A few weeks back, the Pope said to all the people that are outside of the Vatican, but are actually citizens of the Vatican, to bring all of their assets in by the 1st of October. This is the deadline. When the Pope, just like any country like Russia, India, America, when it says we want all our citizens to leave Iraq or Europe and come back into America, they're basically saying that they are isolated and they are at risk by staying where they are. This essentially means that the entire banking industry is being asked to come back into Vatican City and to secure its assets within the vaults, as it were, of Vatican City. The vaults is another way of saying keep it safe. Okay? What does that mean in greater terms? It means all assets, banking deposits, contracts, gold, silver, futures, stocks, etc., are to be transferred for safekeeping back into the vaults of Vatican. When this happens, this means that the world is going to be changed in such a way that the Pope itself or the Vatican itself cannot protect its own citizens' banking. Now, the Vatican and the Vatican bankers have proven themselves to be so corrupt beyond our imagination that their deadline will now expire on the 1st of October. Do you remember I told you that on the next 45 days, you will see global events change, okay, or global changing events. And the publicity around it, the publicity that you get around it, are like the presentation that I'm going to give you. Now, this is the kind of things that you are faced with. They'll say by 1st of October, we're going to stop paying bills. This itself has got nothing to do with anything. It's a wider message to say on the 1st of October, expect the shit to hit the fan, is what they're saying. Okay? And the Pope is confirming this by saying Pope imposes deadline for Vatican to transfer assets to bank, that is Vatican Bank itself. And they'll use language, that's very, very Orwellian. Okay? They'll say things like in a bid to end decades of mismanagement that culminated with scandal over 350 million euros invested in London property. They're basically saying things like 350 trillion of mismanagement. They're basically saying that we are the mismanagements. We are the ones that fed you the false and misleading information. And now we are asking you to bring that. No, they are ordering in those mismanagements, the begotten ills, the ill-begotten gains of mismanagement to be safeguarded in the Vatican. That is basically saying that all of your corruption can be kept safe in their vaults. It's coded language. And you'll also see language like this. Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities like legal entities, to move all funds to the Vatican Bank by September 30th. They'll put a dot there to let you know what is following is in code, because the sentence actually ends here. Yeah, and it's written in code, and then they put 30. Yeah, this is coded for this type of language here. Let me see if I can blow it up for you. According to Francis' rescript, which means they're going to rewrite the narrative, financial and liquid assets held in banks other than the ORC, the IOR must be moved to the Vatican Bank within 30 days of September 1st, 2022. You see the full stop again? That's purpose. They're basically saying count 30 days. Count 30 days. That will more or less put you on the 1st of October. Okay, and he does reveal more and more that it is a rescript. And if you look up what a rescript is, it'll take you straight in there, which means they're going to rewrite the narrative. Okay, and you can have this translated into your own native language. Okay, why am I telling you this? Because you need to know on the 1st of October, the shit is going to hit the fan. Whether the general public will be even aware of it, I do not know. But the point is, those people that have got assets, our mortgage clients, our tax clients, our debt clients, as it were, protect your assets at all cost. You don't want to leave it in the open market, because this is where the snatching will take place. So just to recap, okay, it is a rescript, retelling of history, retelling of a story, and it's given them the 1st of October to get it right. Okay, and I've given you all the information that you need here. And it's from Vatican's own website. See, that's .va is Vatican. And it's all linked, ladies and gentlemen, to this 1st of October. Don't pay energy bills. It's code to say protect your assets at all cost. Okay, this is from Al Jazeera television. And this campaign is running in UK, Britain, England, to let the world know on the 1st of October, your direct debits, you see here that even your direct debits will be changed. Okay, the website itself, what it's trying to aim and what it's trying to achieve itself is not what it is. It's in code to say 1st of October. Now, for those people that think that movies are very revealing, if you want to know a little bit more about symbolism, have a look at this movie called The Mortal Engines, how the city of London begins to cannibalize on other city-states like Bristol, etc. Okay, I'll play a few seconds of it. Yeah, it's all here, as it were, how this cannibalism works, and it's put into symbolic language. Sorry about the ad, so I'll get rid of it. Okay. Look, I have now done my best to explain to you folks that in the next 30 days, protect your assets at all costs. They'll try to grab your bank accounts. They'll try to grab everything that they can, and there will be little or no news about it. Because you know that I've been now taken off YouTube. Why have I been taken off YouTube? Because I tested it. People told me, Mark, if you mention things like paedophile, grooming, and things like that, they take you off. Not that you are in support of grooming or pedophiling, but if you call the pedophiles by what they really are, they take you off. Because they want to be called a different name, which the name, as horrid as it sounds, is essentially another Orwellian name, minor attracted persons. These are people that are attracted to babies, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, below what they call the age of consent. And their argument is, well, children seem to like it, and therefore they should have the right to have sex with adults. This is the type of grooming language that you have to get used to. And this type of grooming language is within the conventional banking codes. They're grooming you to become victims of their system. You know when you have a car, you don't own it. You know when you got a house, you don't own it. You don't own your own bank accounts, called custody. They take custody of your own money. Go figure that. When you have children, you register your children. and the registrar takes over your children. Go figure that. If you put your children in school, they teach them how to have sex changes. And if the parents object, they put you in prison, or the objecting parent to be banned from entering the household or having anything to do with that infant, baby, minor, whatever you call it. All because child means ward of state. I think you get it. You get it, okay? Now, one of my students shared something with me which he thought was prominent, because I was speaking about the Nazis in Nazi Germany, and I was also speaking about when you start to research the concentration camps and who owns it, you'll get a bloody shock. A bloody shock. So, you know, I've not got permission to use his name, but I want to credit him to say this is what he shared with me. The word Nazi comes from the word let me see if I can pronounce it. Ashkenazian Jew. All right, Ashkenazian Jew. Now, the conventional Jewish banking system operates under 7-year bankruptcy because no Jew will ever hold a debt, which is a sin, more than 7 years, because it can become cancerous. So they forgive it. And that's the way that they protect their race and their nation. And the rest of the world, to safeguard it, what the conventional Jews do, they give them that means. And the conventional banking, you know, the fiction banking, they reverse that role where they get you to forgive their debts that they created. This is what God Save the Queen and the fascist regime means in the year of Jubilee. Jubilee is a Jewish word, means that we are going to forgive all debts. In other words, if you have taken out a loan or a mortgage or anything else with a Jewish banking system, with a Jewish faith system, is that after 7 years, it gets wiped out. They'll say, look, we can't hold this anymore. So you haven't paid us back, and therefore we're wiping it out. Okay, if you can pay us back, pay it back. But we don't hold debt and mortgage and things like that for more than 7 years. Christians do it every year. Yeah, that's what the Christmas period is. It's about the forgiveness of other people's sins against you and vice versa. The slate has to be wiped clean. What he's basically saying is that the Ashkenazian Jews, and I'm not blaming them for anything, okay? Remember, there's a lot of mirroring going along here, because they will quite often call you an Ashkenazian Jew when you're the good man. They'll turn a bad man into a good man and a good man into a bad man. So pay no attention to the word itself, but rather the characteristics of who is playing this out. So don't call a black man because he's not a black man. Because what does black mean? It means no law. What does white man mean? It means a man from North Africa. So you can't be American. This is all Orwellian language. What he's saying is that the word Ashkenazian Jew comes from, the word Nazi comes from Ashkenazian. And I've separated that for you to let you know what that means. Okay? And I put it as a disease because I wanted to find out what are the common traits of the Ashkenazian Jews. Okay, and it always gives you, rather than negatives, it gives you, rather than positive, it gives you negatives. Okay, a member of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Do you know that the Nazis in Ukraine is being flushed out? And do you know who is flushing it out? And do you know who gets blamed for being sponsored by Ashkenazian Jews? When that same person, same man, is going after the Nazis. Look up the information. There's millions of people that are aware of it. Okay? So, thank you very much for that, student. To let you know, these are in codes, but pay no attention in the cursive of the nature of these things, but rather the characteristics. When you call a black man, you're saying he has no law. And they firmly fix that idea in your brain, so even the dark-skinned people, think in terms of black. And black has, in contract law, no law. It has no ability to contract. That's why in some of my documents that you'll see on my website, they call these trillion, billion-dollar accounts Wonder Boy, White Boy, King David, Prophet Muhammad, to say they're profiting off of you. You get it? It's encoded language. Hate no one. If you hate people, you will not understand it. Full stop. Now, Jack Otto, whose book is here on my website, World War III, gives you a fantastic description. But of course, he doesn't know parse and syntax. So as a result, he can easily blame the wrong people. But it's the characteristics that you're looking for. It's like a good man saying, I'm a good man, but his characteristics are wicked. Look for the characteristics. It's like a bad man saying, I'm a bad man, and the characteristics is that he is highly beneficial to our world. It's like saying fat boy slim. How can a fat boy be slim? How can a slim boy be fat? They're cancelling it out with the use of oxymorons. And that rapper is doing its best to let you know they've locked you into oxymorons. Oxymorons rob you of logic. Okay, so here's another subject that you absolutely do need to know. We do not know why the gold price goes up and down, but I do have a gold broker in the City of London. And this is what he said to me, or what he said to, his clients really, is that the US Treasury that holds the gold hasn't really done a full public audit since 1986. And they absolutely refused. Okay? And in 1974, going backwards, on September 23rd, 1947, they only allowed half the audits to take place in half the vaults. So we essentially do not know, and please listen carefully, we do not know, and my broker does not know, how much gold the US has. We don't know if they are in deficit of gold, whether they have the gold, or whether they have partially gold, or that they have like hundreds of times more gold than everybody else, is what is their claim is. We do not know how much gold that they have. Okay? If they have all the gold that they say they have, which is like 3 to 4 times greater than China, Russia, and India, then the gold price will stay very stable. It's not going to go up or down. And if people find out they have a lot more gold than they say, like 10 times more, then your gold price is going to drop. But, as the pendulum swings to the extreme, if they have no gold, now gold becomes a very scarce element. And the gold price will go up. And the broker said, okay, this is information that only brokers have. What is said is that they are artificially holding the gold price low, so they have an opportunity, that is the US Treasury, as it were, under the contract of Fort Knox, to be able to buy back as much gold as they can before October the 1st, is because that's when Germany and other countries are going to say to them, give us our gold back. Why use Fort Knox? Why use other countries? Why do other countries use Fort Knox, America? Because it's the safest place. They're basically saying, to keep gold in Germany and other countries is not as safe as it is in keeping in the US. So US is providing a vaulting service, a safe deposit service to these other countries. Just like England, the city of London, England, does for the other parts of the world as well. Because another word for the UK Treasury or the Bank of England is actually called the British Museum, where there's a huge vault there where they store that gold. And the Vatican also has something identical to that. This is why they're saying all of your electronic money, all of your fiat money, all of your assets, properties, monies that you stole, properties that you stole, the DNA that you collected from the general public, the blood supply, the organ harvesting, the selling of babies, the children, bring it in, bring all that in and put it into our vaults. Because all roads lead to Rome. If Vatican was a giver, then all the roads will be emitting energy to the rest of the satellite countries in the world. In other words, they will become the vicar of Jesus, which is supposed to be the trust that allows mankind to benefit from knowledge, from banking. In other words, myrrh, frankincense, and gold, trust law. But they're doing the opposite. They're sucking the energy away from you. That's why they say if you take the journey of Christ, then you'll get crucified. That's a lie, because they want to suck the energy away from you. Okay? Now, let's do a little bit of recap. 1st of October, there will be a blackout as to how bad things really are. And that will be overseen by things like don't pay your bill on the 1st of October. While the shit hits the fan, you'll find all the newspapers, what is known as the fake news, the fake television reporters, the fake newsrooms, the fake. Just as Donald Trump said to you, hey, you're a fake news provider. You created that war in a studio and transmitted it as if it was a fact. So shut your mouth and sit down. That's how I used to speak to them. Oh, you're that fake news provider. You didn't even say sorry to your subscribers that you lied and cheated to them. And that's why he stopped using YouTube and went on to Rumble. You understand what I'm saying? So on the back of this huge change, where the courts, the governments will try to steal as much of your property as they can in the next 30 days, building up to 1st of October, and it is now the 1st of September. Okay? Remind yourself of the significance of what I am saying, is that the Pope, under Orwellian language, is basically giving them 30 days notice to get all of your monies, assets for safekeeping into our vaults, where we're going to keep it safe and presumably try to outlast the corona period, which will probably last 10,000 years. They're building up energy in order to last 10,000 years. Okay, and it's all here, ladies and gentlemen. It's here. It's all coded language. Okay? If you don't understand coded language, go and watch the movie. Where is it? Listen to Jack Otto's movie lectures, or read his book. Okay? And if you want to know what I'm talking about with Fort Knox, that it's not made up, just have a look at this. If you want to know more about symbolism, go and watch the movie Mortal Engines, of how the city of London will cannibalize on all the other city-states. What makes a city? Anything that's got a cathedral in it. As simple as that. So to all our clients that are being challenged, all of our existing clients that are facing challenges, we now know why this is. It's because they've only got 30 days left to bring in all the energy that they stole from the other planets into these city-states. There are other players like China, like Russia, like India, like the emerging countries like Africa, that it's finding its own because they are finding a way of trusting each other. Previously, you could only do a type of business where it's like sold as seen. So they're selling something, the buyer comes along, checks it, as in buyer be aware, they pay money for it, and then they take it away. So there is no trust involved. Everything is inspected. Well, they're finding a way of actually trusting people now. And that system of trust is absolutely important. And when they want to bypass the trust, they're using Bitcoin because that's a trustless network. You don't need trust as a middleman. What they call a Byzantine problem or dilemma, which means how do I overcome my ability to trust people and rather work on a system where I don't need to have trust and still know the work is going to take place. That's what Bitcoin has created. If you've got trust and you've got the blockchain network at your access, you're going to become very wealthy. Okay? So, to all my students, protect your assets at all cost. Your assets are your DNA, your children, your paperwork, your bank accounts, and the knowledge to go and protect it. Okay? The money element is the last bit. Your DNA is very valuable to them. Very valuable. Because it allows them to engineer diseases that is unique to your genetic code. Or it allows them to give you beneficial things unique to your genetics. Luckily, since the movie James Bond, that element of them being able to hijack our genetics, involuntarily came to a stop when they basically said, you're not going to have it. That's what the James Bond movie was in The Poison Garden. It's called mirroring, and I made a whole video on how this mirroring worked and how to read their language and how to access your higher functioning parts of your brain through mirroring. Well, and I called that video 100% proof that you have a spirit. 100% proof means, in negative language, beyond doubt, that it's irrefutable. It becomes a piece of fact, and a fact that cannot be modified or twisted. It still remains what it is. You get it? Of course you do. So, feel free to share this knowledge with everybody else. I'm not on YouTube. And look at the description box for my details, like my website or email. Why am I doing that? Just in case they try to get rid of my email or try to shut down my website. Because on that website, there are things in there they say only God knows. Well, I know. You understand what I'm saying? This is the power of knowledge. It quite literally turns you into a god. And what is God? That's on my website as well. Okay? I see you folks. That's are the champions for the task and force of stopping state traffic, stopping state trafficking of children, operations to mutilate children, etc. I say children as in minors. The state no longer has access if you tell them that my children are not children, because we found out what that word is, but they are my property and they are minors, and we will make decisions for them until We decide when they are of this consenting age. Consenting means be able to agree to or to disagree with contracts, like an offer for marriage, like an offer for a bank account, like an offer for sex. When they are old enough to make their own decisions, only the parent can decide that, not the state or anybody else. This is why they fight so hard to hold on to your children, because they are the value of the government, because they create bonds after them. I've gone into a whole different world, but your children are more precious to these states and more valuable in terms of monetary use than a gold certificate is. Review this video if you need to again, but until then, I'll see you guys at 11:30 p.m. UK time for the first briefing for the champions. Okay, and that's on my website. And let me see if I can punch it up for you. It should be on the more section. In the more section, where is it? Task and force. Okay, these videos are now re-uploaded because YouTube took it down. So if we put it on Rumble and reworking everything. Okay, so our first meeting, and these are all the champions, and this page hasn't been updated for nearly 30 days. Yeah, there's already 100 people that are now championing by name and face, as well as putting their laptops, their money in their faith as to what we're going to do. All right, so 1st of September, Thursday is what today is. 11:30 p.m. is when we're going to have our first meeting, and the briefing for it and the presentation is going to be done by the leaders of the task force, which is Williams and Janine. Okay.